Hello everyone, welcome to another video on the channel and welcome to the next round of the GT Sport FIA Nations 2020 series. It's time for round 15. We're at Fuji International Speedway and it's Group 2 machinery. So let's take a look at the settings for this race. So we've got 14 laps to get round. We have tyre weight at times 6, fuel consumption at times 5 and just the racing hard tyre available. So no mandatory tyre for this one, but we will just confirm that by taking a look at the race settings, and we'll scroll down to the tyre requirement and make sure there's no surprises waiting for us, and there is none there. So a quick look at the leaderboard at the time of recording sees the 2016 GTR dominating, but there is a sneaky 2008 Lexus in there in 8th place, and that is a car we will talk about a little bit later on as the video progresses. So the car selection for Group 2 is there is 6 cars. Certain elements of this race may mean you want to sort of immediately jump to the 2016 GTR even though it's top of the leaderboards. There is a grid start to consider and there is fuel to consider as well, and we're going to look at those elements just in a little bit of a second. But in terms of car choice, I'm ruling out the Hondas straight away, so we're going to just test the other 4 cars in some different categories if you like. And first up is that grid start. Now the sort of 2016 cars are not good off the line, and you know this from a previous race last season. So the test we were doing here was just off the line and to the 100 metre board. Now both the 2016 cars we're looking at, the GTR and the Lexus, they took 10.3 and 10.4 seconds respectively, but if we move on to the 2008 Lexus, gets off the line much better. It will have taken 9.8 seconds. So that's definitely something to consider given the start, and the GTR 08 is the same story, actually coming in at 9.7 seconds. So you could sort of qualify in the 2016 model and then lose a whole load of positions at the start because you can't get the car off the line. Now all those tests were conducted with traction control at 1. So moving on to another important element of this race, and that is fuel. Fuel is set at times 5, and that means that this race is very much fuel limited. Now the 4 cars we've all tested, none of them can get through the race without doing some fuel saving. So in this test we are going to test each of the 4 cars that we've narrowed it down to and see which one is based on fuel. Now the test was fairly simple. We're going to do 4 laps of the circuit. We're going to change gear at around about 60% on the rev counter. That's just above the actual gear that the car's in, and then we're going to kind of record the laps remaining, percentage of fuel that we've got, and sort of take a note on those lap times to see if any car was particularly slow or indeed particularly quick. The first car we tested was the Lexus. We're now on to sort of taking a look at the GTR 2016. Now I've not actually got any footage of the 08 GTR in here, but we do have the results for that about to pop up on the screen. Now the car that we're on board with here is the 2008 Lexus. Now this car did surprise me as the test was going on. I could see from fairly early on that this car was looking a little bit better on the fuel than its other 3 rivals. So here is the results on the screen now. So laps remaining for the GTR and Lexus from 2016 and also the GTR from 2008 is at 7.8, but you can see the Lexus has got a full lap remaining more than those other 3 cars. Moving on to the percentage there, we've got 69% for the 2016 GTR, 68% for the Lexus 2016, 69% for the 08 GTR and the Lexus at 71. And moving on to the best laps, all of them coming in with a fairly similar kind of speed, so no car particularly losing any pace more than any other whilst short shifting, but the Lexus 2016 coming in with the best lap out of the 4 cars. Now the 2008 Lexus is the best at saving fuel, but it's also probably the slowest. Even though its best lap there was fairly similar to everything else, its other laps were a little bit slower, so that's definitely something to keep in mind when we sort of come to discussing strategy at the end of the video. Okay, so what if fuel saving is not your thing? So it was worth to sort of test things out, just to sort of see if maybe actually just not saving the fuel, making a pit stop, taking on the fuel that you need is a better option. So in this run here we are in the GTR from 2016 and we're just going to drive flat out and see how much fuel we're going to have to take on at the pit stop.
Now, driving the GTR flat out, it looks like we're good for around about 11 laps of fuel. I'm guessing that the 2016 Lexus and 08 the GTR would be around about the same, and maybe the sort of 08 Lexus would be a little bit better, maybe getting 12 laps without any kind of fuel saving. So we're not going to actually go to the lap where you would sort of normally go to before you sort of make that pit stop. We've kind of got the fuel down enough at this point in the run, and we're just going to do some pit stop testing and see how much of a loss you're going to sustain depending on how much fuel you take on. So we're coming into the pits now to take on whatever fuel would be necessary to get us to the end of the race. Now this is an absolutely horrific pit entrance. Try not to do that. I don't know if it costs you any time. From my calculations, I don't think it did. You can see we're going to be stationary for quite a bit of time taking on the fuel that we need. We actually take on a little bit more than we sort of really did need, but that's always better to be safe than sorry in these situations. And we're stationary for, what was that, 6.8 seconds. Now going by the in lap and the out lap, I calculated the loss for taking on 32% of fuel being around about 8.5 seconds. Now we did calculate the pit loss just taking tyres only, not something you're probably going to do in this race, as we'll discuss a little bit later on. So only 6.8 seconds for that. Obviously when we took on the 32% of fuel we never changed the tyres, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. That was 8.5 seconds, 20% of fuel 6.8 seconds, and 10% of fuel 5.3 seconds. So you can see there's quite a lot of time to be gained in the pits just by saving that fuel. However, the question is, can you make up 5.3 or 6.8 seconds or however much fuel you need to take on over the no stop? We probably will come in fairly close, but we are going to take a look at the strategies in the next part of the video. Now it is confession time, I am afraid. So during the course of making this video, sort of doing all the fuel testing, doing all the pit stop testing, time just kind of really did get out of hand, did a sort of escape from me, and I didn't actually get a chance to do any sort of full race runs. However, I do think we've done enough testing and sort of gleaned enough knowledge from what I have done to sort of see how this race is going to unfold. Now, I can see several ways that you're going to approach this race, so we will go through each one and we'll discuss. I will sort of put my sort of feelings and thoughts together as to what I think is the best way to sort of tackle the race and what car I think will be best for each strategy. So here are the strategies on the screen. Strategy 1 is the no stop fuel save. I do think this is the best strategy to go for if you're prepared to do the fuel saving. Now the sort of data in the testing suggests that the best car to choose for this strategy is a 2008 Lexus. It certainly seems to be the most comfortable on fuel. That'll give you a little bit of margin to kind of sort of push towards the end of the race compared to other cars around you. It's also got that advantage that it gets off the line very well compared to the 2016 cars. I do think every car is capable of doing the no stop, but there's going to be more sort of robust fuel saving required in the other three cars. So I think if you're going to go for the no stop fuel save, and I think that's the strategy I'm going to go for tomorrow, and I'm going to pick the 2008 Lexus to do that. Strategy number 2, you've got the fuel save but stop for a bit of a splash and dash towards the end. So fuel save where you can, and then whenever you're about to run out of fuel over the last few laps, jump into the pits to maybe take on about 10-12% of fuel, and hopefully you don't lose too many positions. You'll lose around about 5 seconds in the pits doing that, but over the course of the race maybe you can the gaps will start to open up and it could be a strategy that works. And strategy 3 is the flat out and pit for fuel when you are empty. Now you're going to get about 11 laps out of most of the cars, maybe 12 laps out of the 2008 Lexus. I don't think this is the way to go around about this race if you ask me, but I do know that a lot of people don't like fuel saving, so they just like to drive flat out, so that is the option for you. I think you'll probably lose around about 9 seconds in the pits if that's the sort of way you go. Obviously for all those strategies I wouldn't be taking any tyres on. The tyre wears only at times 6. The tyres will get a little bit sketchy towards the end, but I don't think it's worth the additional 5.7 seconds you will lose in the pits to take them on. Okay, that is my thoughts for this one. Apologies for not doing any actual race runs. Hopefully there's been some useful information in there to get started. It's not that long until this race gets underway, so I do apologise for it being out a little bit late as well. Anyway, we'll wrap the video up there. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button if you like what we're doing on the channel. I do appreciate the support. And until the next video, which will be tomorrow, thanks for watching. Goodbye now.